14,
10, 8, 5,
9,
You wrote a word on your rock about something you want to leave behind after the pandemic. What word did you write?
distancing. Because I don't like distancing because you have to stay like 6 feet apart, which is pretty big. And then you might forget it, and then you break the rules, which is kind of annoying.
Pendant COVID, on peut pas voir nos amis.
So I don't like being alone, and during this pandemic, I didn't see any of my friends.
The pandemic has been hard for everyone, and I think it can be really easy to overlook the effect it's had on children. I thought this piece did a really wonderful job of addressing their feelings and showing the diverse worries and concerns they've had over the last couple of years. We've seen so many pieces that focus on how adults have been feeling, but nothing that is specific to children. So I love that this piece brought these feelings forward. And I especially appreciate the hopeful approach it took. There's a focus on healing here, which is so good for them. And it's so good for me to see.
I loved the excellent collaging effect to layer the experiences of both, mostly of the children, but also of adult voices coming through with the physicality of the weight of the burdens of COVID in the rocks that they had to actually transport. And you kind of go on that journey with them. You can feel that weight. And then the switch to the celebratory flags that are light and that capture air and levity. So that juxtaposition between the rock and then the flag, I thought was a really great way to symbolize it, right? And to create a physical representation of an experience. I thought it was really a really touching piece, really well compiled, really well crafted, clean and clear messaging, and was very emotional as these wishes are indeed coming true as we hopefully move into a less pandemic-driven world.
I think I'm also just a sucker for any story that's told from a child's point of view, because it's not often a point of view that we see without some sort of guidance or direction placed on it. So it was really nice to see the hope that they have for the future, past, COVID and past quarantine and past all of this, and, their hopes to be together again and what they look forward to, and to see how these online environments and online teaching have, how it's impacted them, because it's not something that you hear a lot of from the horse's mouth. So I think it was a nice perspective to see, but also nice to see their hopes for the future. And it was just a warm piece altogether. I think it was shot very well. I really like the style that, the filter style of where it seems very true to life, but you can definitely tell there's some enhancement in it. I think that's a plus for me because I just enjoy that look to it. But you bring a bunch of different perspectives in, and I love the opening. It really prefaces the story before it starts, and it was just really well done.
What was really encouraging about seeing the kids talk about this, about coming out of quarantine, what they want to do, obviously it's very encouraging to the kids, but it's probably even doubly more encouraging to the grown-ups, watching, to see the kids, seeing kids be hopeful makes us even more hopeful, I think. And it was, I like that they had the kids engaging in activities, writing down the things like they were, chalk marking on the rocks and making banners and flags and things. So activities to reinforce, the subject matter was good. And it was good for, it's good for kids viewing this to see that as well, to know that missing your friends is something that you could write on a rock or write on a flag and, and celebrate. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It was interesting that none of the kids said, I want to get back to playing video games. It was really nice. All of them talked about traveling, getting out, seeing friends. Some of them talked about wanting to have pizza again. So, getting out and getting some of the good food that they miss maybe. But yeah, this is really well done, very well conceived, very well executed, wonderfully edited, wonderfully directed. Obviously they did a great job with the kids. The planning the activities and executing the activities with the kids, great job there too. And all the kids were wonderful to see.
Great idea to give us a wide bird's eye view of them all at once. And the comments were so touching about all the things the students did not like about COVID-19, like missing their family and friends in person. Brilliant idea to get each student to paint what they did not like on rocks, the rocks being the heavy burdens these kids carried. I thought the mellow piano music worked really well in this section. I also appreciated the idea of the kids writing on flags about what they want to see when the pandemic is over, such as friends. These shots of the flags were so moving, the flags representing freedom in their world.
It was fun to listen to the kids' perspective about the pandemic and what they didn't like about it, what they wanted to do once the pandemic was over and they were allowed to be near people again. I loved the idea that they had where everybody could write a word on a rock. But then they went ahead and they did kind of the same idea with the flags, which was perfect because all of the flags you could read, you could see these kids talking about what they were excited about and looking forward to. That was great.
So eye-opening because I feel like for me, who was in college during the pandemic, and I just didn't really have access to that kind of perspective from, how this global pandemic affected the younger generation. So I appreciated getting to see that. I thought the opening was strong. I feel like every student can relate to the kind of Zoom call in those questions. And, seeing what all the kids wanted to leave behind from the pandemic written on a rock, I thought it was super sweet and just very eye-opening. I thought it was a really great film, so good job.
This shows lovely footage of children's giving feedback from the pandemic and how they wish to do things like they did before the pandemic, or just being able to go outside without their masks on, or not being online with online classes anymore. It was so sad to hear the impact on these kids, and I like this dynamic where they go to the flags and they use painting rocks to express their feelings and important messages. It was great to see the dynamic of school and kids and how the pandemic has influenced them. And I was just heartbroken when they mentioned they want to be able to hug and be close to someone. It was beautiful.